5 of season 8 of the Tom and Friends Storytime, and now upon us. In our last episode, we talked about the story of Thomas, Emily, and the vessel hostess, of course. And now in this episode of Tom and Friends Storytime, we are going to be reading the story of Thomas come to breakfast. I mean breakfast, of course. If you know what I'm trying to say. So anyway, hop on board and explore the island of Sodor with everyone number one friend Thomas the Tank Engine. Thomas the Tank Engine had worked his rant line for many years and know it very well. You know just where to stop, Thomas laughed his driver. You could almost manage it without me. Thomas had became connected. He didn't realize that his driver was joking. Later, he bolted it to the other. Driver said I don't need him now. Don't be daft, snorted Percy. I never go any I never go without my driver, said Toby unnervedly. I'll be frightened. Ha! Lied Thomas. I'm not scared. You never dare, said the other engine. I would then, booted Thomas. You'll see. One morning one morning the fireman came and Thomas stone stone comfortably alley in the shed at 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 the warmer settling through his boiler. Percy and Toby were still asleep. Thomas opened his eyes and then suddenly remembered. Silly stick in the mud. He chuckled. I'll show them. Driver hadn't come yet. So so here he gone. He 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 veteran tried one of his pittance, then the other, then moving and whisper. I just go out. Then I will stop and wheeze. That make them jump. Very, very quiet. He needed to pat the door. He heard and he heard a pat the door. Thomas thought that he was being clever, but really he was only moving because the carrier cleaner outlet had had mentioned with his control. He soon found out his mistake. He tried to reach, but he couldn't. He tried to stop, but he couldn't. He kept rolling along. The bubbers will, the bubber will stop me, he thought hopefully. but the siding had no buffers. Thomas wheels leapt on the rails and 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 crashed the the tarmac. There was the station master's house. Thomas didn't dare to look at where at what was coming next. The station master and his family were having breakfast, honoring honoring cried Thomas and shut his eyes. There was a crash. The house rocketed into broken glass tinkering and 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 plastic papering and plate and everything. Thomas had collected a brush alley on his travel. He he paired excitedly into the room. Thought it leave alley. He couldn't speak alley. The station master was doing it. The station master wife alley picked up her plate. You miserable engine! She snorted. Just look what you done to our breakfast. Now I now she'll have to cook some more. She banged the door alley and more plaster fell, but this time it fell on Tommy. Tommy Bill Tommy Bill did present. The planner alley would tickling alley. He wanted to need, but he didn't dare to cause the house to fell on him. No one came for a long time. Everyone, everyone was much too busy. At last, the workmen popped up the house with drawn pulled alley and laid wail through the garden. Donald and Douglas arrived. Get in yourself, Thomas. We'll soon have you back on the rail, they laughed. Pumping hard, the twin managed to haul Thomas back to safety. Bit of fencing and a brush and a broken window frame floated on Thomas's front, which was badly the twin. He looked very funny, the twin laughed. Left him, left him. Thomas was in the grates. But there was work to come. You are a very naughty engine, came a voice. I know, sir, said Thomas. I'm sorry, sir. Thomas's voice went muffled behind the brush. You must go to the work alley and have your front end mended. It will be a long job, said the back controller. Yes, sir. Yes, sir, blurted Thomas. Meanwhile, a diesel rail car called Daisy will have your work. A diesel, sir? Daisy, sir? Thomas explained. Yet, Thomas. Yet, Thomas, said the back controller. Diesel always stayed in their shed alley where until they are wanted. Diesel never got it up to breakfast in Dayton Master's houses. the back controller outlet turned on his heels and he stuttered and walked away. The end. Well, I sure hope Thomas had learned his lesson not to go without his driver, of course. You know what I'm saying, Allie. Anyway, there you have it, folks. That was the story of Thomas Come to Breakfast, Allie. The classic Thomas story from the year of 1991. Lee. And it was a very good story, I can tell you that, Leah Courtly. I know it I and sorry it did take me so long to actually make this episode, Allie, but there was a lot of stuff going on, Allie, and and I do apologize. So so I sure hoping you guys did enjoy this story as I, Allie, of course, but I really hoping you have, Allie. Pretty much, Allie. Anyway, what will happen in episode 6 of of season 8 of the Thomas and Friend storytime series? Well, you will have to wait and see next time.